This is Picks on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
All right, everybody, hello, happy Wednesday, and welcome to Picks on Politics Daily, Pop Daily as we like to call it around here. Just a quick programming note, everybody, tune into the night to the Pix 11 News at 5 p.m. We here at Pix 11, along with Emerson College, as well as The Hill, dropping an exclusive poll looking at the race for mayor of New York City and where the candidates stand. There's a wide-ranging number of candidates, but we're also doing, for the first time, I think, a ranked choice simulation that you're going to see play out in that poll that our Grace Gomez is going to be breaking down again tonight on the Pix 11 News at 5 p.m. But I want to talk about another big topic, and you at home know I've been focused on Rikers Island from the early days of my career here at Pix 11 when I first started reporting on Rikers Island and the problems that were going on inside of it, right? This was a problem that was not created overnight on what exactly is playing out inside the troubled jail complex. And then before the pandemic, many of you may know that there was this plan under the de Blasio administration to close Rikers Island. And there was a timeline put forth, right? And that was 2027. So that's just 2 years away. So where are we at with that? There's a new report that just came out from the Independent Rikers Commission. It is chaired by Chief Judge Jonathan Littman about examining this plan to close Rikers Island and what exactly it looks like. And this report is over 100 pages long. I've read much of it. Talking about the plan to close down, make these community-based jails, and how that's all going to work, right? It sounds complicated, and it is. So let me bring in Judge Littman right now to discuss this and the findings of this new report. Judge, welcome to Picks on Politics Daily. Good to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So let me break down where exactly we're at with this plan, right? There was this whole idea of closing down Rikers Island, going to these borough-based jails in 2027, but many of those are just not breaking ground, and they're estimated to open in 2030, 2031. So that obviously delays the timeline. So walk me through a little bit about what your new report and blueprint is finding.
Yeah, well, we're finding that, look, they're not going to make that 27 deadline. The administration, to give them their due, they put in $15.5 billion to build 4 local jails. But as you say, those contracts that have been led are talking about 29, 31, 32, and they are required to not have jail facilities on Rikers effective August 2027. Mm-hmm. And what we've said in the report, and what basically I think is the city council's position, is that the city has to have, with a sense of urgency, with a sense of will, with policy support, have to commit to doing the things that they need to do to get this miserable, horrible place closed as quickly as possible. And what does that mean? It means move up the construction, which we think can be moved up by at least a year, get the population down to about 4,500. The Office of Court Administration has stepped up to the plate and are doing all kinds of things to reduce case delays. We think that could do 2 years reduction in case delay, but the city has to be helpful with that, whether it's the DAs, whether it's producing discovery, whatever it is. So in addition to that, they have to increase the capacity by investing in forensic psychiatric beds that'll raise the capacity up to 5,000. And it involves an investment of mental health dollars by the city. All of those things, in addition to starting the planning to getting a new culture at DLC, so that they're not just putting Rikers into the local counties, start working on the renewable Rikers. All those things have to be done now. They have to appoint a point person to do that and get it done now. And then only could there be a phased-in extension of the deadline.
So let me talk about those borough-based jails for a second, right? Because you have a lot of people who are saying, not in my backyard. I don't want the borough-based jail. And that's part of the holdup here, is actually picking the physical location for some of these, and that's why the ground hasn't been broken. So how do you see that hurdle being played out?
I don't think it's a problem. Those are done. I mean, they're not done, but the commitment has been made. What they do have to invest in, and we say in the report, particularly around the newest jails, where there are no jails now, in Bronx and Chinatown, where there've been resistance in the community, they have to invest in those communities
Hmm.
and around the jails. You know, our surveys have shown that jails don't ruin neighborhoods. The opposite. Neighborhoods have thrived around the jails. Look at Brooklyn, where the existing jail that's now being replaced, there's been a boom in real estate around that jail. So I think the process is all played out. You
But there's
learned
a
all of
difference
that,
there. There's a
but the
difference there, Judge.
communities do have to. Yeah.
The difference is that the jail was there and the community came after. Now the communities are there and they're saying, well, we don't want the jail. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it was before and after.
No, I get you. I hear you. But at this point, the city can make that better. You can't tell them I'm not doing it, but they can invest in that community, and that's what's needed, and that's exactly what we've recommended. We've done focus groups on this, but it's just one of many ways that the administration has to step up to the plate. And again, to give them the due, $15.5 billion, great that they're putting money where their mouth is. But all these other things I mentioned, a sense of urgency, will increase capacity, reduce the jail population, change the culture, invest in mental health, has to be done now. And then I believe, and look, it's up to the city council, the administration to work it out. If they do that, I believe that the city council will extend in phases the date from August 2027 to a more realistic date.
Yeah, and that gets to my next couple questions here. First and foremost, beginning with Mayor Adams himself, right? It seems like he has never really prioritized this as something that he wanted to get done by 2027. He always said it wasn't realistic. So I didn't see that in the report. Did you ever feel that there was a hurdle of getting Mayor Adams on board to move forward with the plan?
Well, let me tell you about Mayor Adams, my relationship on this issue. I have talked to him about this issue since he was the Brooklyn Borough president. And he has always been a supporter of closing Rikers. And, I think when he got into office, there was an issue of, did this closing Rikers in any way conflict with his priorities of fighting crime and making people safe? So he's been hesitant to boldly talk about closing it. I think he still believes in it, but again, we haven't seen that sense of urgency, that sense of will, the policy support, and the investments that we'd like to see.
Yeah, I mean, and since it's so neighborhood focused, could it have potentially affected, I don't know, a re-election campaign if people didn't want it in their own neighborhood?
Politics is everything in this city, but I do believe in his heart, and he said that, I want to close it, but he's saying the message is conflicting, reducing crime and closing these jails. Our answer is the messages do not conflict. Having Rikers doesn't enhance public safety. It makes it worse. People come out from that horrible place damaged, they commit more crimes.
So how do you get the council to look at this plan now and say 2027 is just not realistic? Because it sounds like many of them still wanted to close by 2027. And when you read the actual details of the plan that your commission has looked at, it just doesn't fit that timeline.
I think the plan does and will have the support of the council.
Okay.
The speaker, who's now a candidate, appointed us. But I do think, and we've talked to all the people in the council, I think our plan has their support. I mean, the proof will be in the pudding. In fact, we're going to be doing a hearing next month on this whole thing where they want to know, the council. I'll be testifying. They want to know what we think. Not that we haven't told them in private. Yeah. I think you'll find they understand the realities. They just want that commitment, not just lip service.
And Judge, I guess when you look at it, part of the report and one of your suggestions was to reduce the jail population, release people quicker, right? If you're doing the
quicker, if they're not a threat to society, quicker if it's not a safety issue. Yes.
Right, but the issue right now is that Rikers Island has somewhere around 7,000 population.
Yes.
The borough-based jails, as a collective, would house how many?
It's gonna work. They have at least a 4,500 capacity. We think it can be up to 5,000. We think the court administration plan will reduce over the next 3 years the population by about 2,000 people. And again, if they increase the capacity by doing the mental health psychiatric beds and get people out of there who don't belong in an incarcerative mode but need help, the capacity is not going to be an issue. They can do it, but that requires investment, thinking, planning, cooperation, urgency.
Yeah, and having the psychiatric beds available. Now, that would fall under the DOC?
Not necessarily. We suggest that they do at least 500 beds that are outside the DLC and to work on those with the state. There are other beds that are available that they're not filling right now, like at Bellevue, because DLC says they don't have the staff to staff them. Well, you know what? They have to staff them. It's a relatively minor expense compared to all the others. That's what I mean about commitment.
Yeah, Judge, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We're out of time. I could talk to you about this all day because I'm laser focused on the Rikers Island issue. So I'll have you back soon. When are you testifying again?
We don't know. I think it'll be the middle of April. They're setting an exact date.
So we'll touch base after you testify.
Great to see you. My pleasure.
Find out when the plan is after you testify. We'll talk again. Good to talk to you.
Good. Look forward to it. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And don't forget, everybody, we are staying on top of this issue because I know it's so important to you. And not only the closure of Rikers Island, but where exactly the timeline is going to be on that. Don't forget, tonight on the Pick 7 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 p.m., our Grace Gomez is breaking down our exclusive new poll about the race for mayor primary day, just a few short months away. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, though, for another episode of Pick 7 Politics Daily, what a great conversation. I'm Dan Mannarino. We'll see you tomorrow.